Are you the quantum mechanics?
Yes, we are the Quantum Mechanics, the paranormal podcast of the believers, the doubters, and everybody in between. Happy New Year to you. It's 2026.
2026. Who'd have thunk it?
Not me, because I had fully expected disclosure by now. Maybe it'll happen this year. I'd also expected Throw Atlas to come and crash into. Well, I didn't expect that, to be honest. But
yeah, and the conversation seemed to have moved on now from it was a comet, but are we prepared for alien invasion? That's where the new narrative is, I think, with that story. Yeah, people seem to have accepted it was a comet, right? Pretty much.
Yeah, I think so. And in terms of Are We Ready, 20 years ago I made a TV show with that exact title, Alien Invasion, Are We Ready? And the conclusion then was no.
Yeah.
We were ready for a nuclear-powered like satellite or part of a space station to fall on us. We were okay with that.
Yeah.
But as far as little green men turning up, definitely not.
Well, today, Ben, I wanted to cover, are we ready for an alien invasion? And the answer is no. So
all right, well, we'll see you next time.
Yeah, we'll see you next time. Maybe we should do something else. It's also worth mentioning we were supposed to record this yesterday, but in that Christmas thing of I forgot what day of the week it was. And luckily, Ben sent me a text saying, we're all right to record tomorrow. At that point, I was, what can I say? I was full of Christmas spirit. And yes, good job we didn't, because I started drinking whiskey at about 1 a.m. So it would have been a disaster if we recorded yesterday.
A 10-year-old Christmas spirit.
Yeah, really, a 10-year-old Christmas spirit.
Now, one of the things that I was bought for Christmas was a whiskey subscription.
Oh, what's that?
So you get a new whiskey.
What, to Alcoholic Anonymous?
Yeah. You get a new whiskey through the post, as I understand it, every month, but it's not a full bottle. So
like little miniatures or whatever.
Yeah, I think it's in a pouch, so it fits through the front door.
Nice.
But you can have more of a tasting, because the trouble I find is when I get a nice whiskey, because I've got a few, but I've got some that, you have a couple of glasses and you're like, nah, it's kind of okay. And then I have a few that are like, oh, that is very nice. And I have to sort of, this time of year when you're just wandering around the house looking for something to eat, I've had to put them out of view, because before you know it, you're watching The Littlest Hobo on like Sky Channel 326, having a quadruple whiskey, finishing off the bounty bars that nobody else ate in the celebrations.
And then the next day you turn into the biggest hobo.
Yeah, but honestly, you can. I haven't been dressed for 2 solid days, apart from I put some shorts on to take the dog round the block. And it's a little bit obvious. I feel like I sort of reverted to what it was like in lockdown. I was wearing like a coat and shorts and willing the dog to just do his business so we could go back and, finish the Baileys.
Well, yesterday I woke up late, watched 3 or 4 movies, ate a pizza and went back to bed, basically. That's what I achieved yesterday.
Oh, it's the dream.
Talking of dreams.
Oh, yes.
Should we talk about dreams today?
I didn't even do that as a segue.
Well,
that works.
Very good segue, yes. One of my obsessions, Ben, and a topic we've discussed on the podcast a number of times, are dreams. And I was thinking mainly because I had a couple of experiences with sleep paralysis when I was a bit younger. And also I've got an interest in psychology. So I thought, we've looked at dreams on the podcast before as premonition. We've covered sleep paralysis, obviously, many times. We've talked about entities like the succubus, the incubus, and, of course, the Hat Man. So we're not going to cover necessarily those today. But, entities that come to us in our dreams are ubiquitous across most cultures. And I wanted to today focus on a subset known as dream eaters.
I've never heard of this.
Yes, they're also called dream devourers, and a word that I struggle to say, which they're also called oneirophages. Oneirophages? So what do you think? O-N-E-I-R-O phages. Oneirophages.
Oneirophages, yeah. Okay.
We'll just call them dream eaters, shall we?
Yeah. See, that word itself, it makes me think of something sort of Roald Dahl-ish.
Yes, I don't know why, and I know it's not a dream eater thing, but it always makes me think of the Langoliers, the Stephen King thing. Mm-hmm. They ate time, didn't they? Not dreams.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's something about it. Yeah, dream eaters. Now, Jeff O'Connor from Connect Paranormal blog, he's got quite a good definition for these entities. He says, dream eaters are legendary beings that are thought to eat people's dreams while they sleep. Yeah, seems pretty simple. These mysterious creatures, which have existed in many forms throughout many cultures and belief systems, have captivated people's imagination for millennia. Dreaming is a universal human experience, and the enigmatic nature of the subconscious mind is where the idea of dream eaters originates. People frequently depict these beings as evil spirits that devour the substance of dreams, leaving their victims depleted, perplexed, and unable to recall their experiences. Now, according to some stories, dream eaters steal beneficial dreams and then give you nightmares, while others say that they have more helpful function by absorbing adverse dreams and shielding sleepers from unwanted thoughts. And we're going to look at both sides of that coin today, Ben.
Okay.
Now, the concepts of beings that consume dreams dates back thousands of years. There was a demon called Asag who was associated with the Mesopotamian mythology of nightmares and sleep disturbances. The ancient Egypts had a similar belief, worshipping the god Bes, not Bez.
Okay. No maracas.
No maracas. So Bes was associated with protecting sleepers from bad spirits that might enter their dreams, whereas Bez was associated with maracas and good dancing, right?
Yeah. I bet he's had some good dreams.
Yeah, it really has. Later, cultures developed more specialised dream-eating creatures as a result of these early beliefs. So dream eaters take on diverse shapes in several cultural contexts. Let's take a look at some of these early examples of dream eaters, starting with the Mesopotamian demon Asag, who I mentioned earlier, who's also called Asaku. So in Mesopotamian folklore, Asag represents the forces, he's got quite a wide brief, chaos, winter, and volcanoes.
That's going to keep him quite busy.
Yeah, I mean, I get why he's got that combination, don't you?
Getting the volcano assignment, it does feel like that was addended to his original task list.
Oh, we're going to give volcanoes too. What's Asad got? He's got chaos and winter. Yeah, give him the volcanoes. He was known to bring illness and suffering to animals and humans in the form of epilepsy, fever, malaria, and headaches. So, yeah, no, he's an illness giver. But I was thinking, we'll come on to it, but they're all quite, all of those things can be quite hallucinatory, can't they? Epilepsy, fever, malaria, headaches.
Yeah. I mean, anyone who's had a fever dream, they can be quite terrifying. Whenever I've had a fever dream, it feels like there's lots of people in the room, all talking, and it's quite disturbing.
Paradoxically, he was also seen as a healing entity as well. His name was invoked in spells and rituals to repel evil and evil forces and help cleanse someone from illness. So he'd bring illness, but he'd also help cure it as well. Interesting. And I think it's really interesting that they would summon a demon. I guess he would be summoned to chase away more harmful or dangerous entities. So, yeah, a bit of a double-edged sword there. And I've got an example of one later, which is a bit like that as well.
So he's not terribly bad. I mean, this is kind of similar to if you take another god like Pan, for example, you can use Pan defensively.
Yeah.
But also, as we've spoken about in the past, the word panic derives from that. And you can also get extreme fear, but you can use Pan to get rid of things which are sort of much more evil than that entity is.
Is that where we get Pan's people from?
Yes, I think.
Is that where they got their name?
I think that's probably. Well, it is where they get their name from. Yeah.
Okay. Another type of.
They have got goat legs,
and they will ruin your dreams. Another type of demon that terrified the Babylonians and the Assyrians was the Alu. Now, the word Alu means tempest or storm in Akkadian, and it reflects the chaos and destruction that these demons caused. So, interesting look to these ones. They were half human, half animal creatures. They roamed the streets at night, Ben, hiding in dark corners of deserted places.
Okay.
They could take various forms, such as bulls, dogs, lions, scorpions, or snakes. Ooh, half human, half scorpion. I wonder which half.
That's weird.
Yeah. You'd definitely have the face, wouldn't you? If you could be a scorpion, you'd want the sting end, wouldn't you, to stay?
A scorpion on human legs.
It wouldn't work, would it?
That'd be so weird.
Yeah. They could also change their shape and size, appearing as large as a mountain or as small as a fly.
Yeah. We've done flies and ghosts before.
Yeah, we're not doing that.
No.
So the Alu were especially feared for their ability to cause nightmares and sleep paralysis. They could enter people's bedrooms through windows or doors, sit on their chest, paralysing them and preventing them from breathing. They could also torment them with terrifying visions or sounds, making them see or hear things that weren't there.
Yeah, and that is a feature of sleep paralysis.
Yeah. It's amazing, isn't it? It's a direct reference to the phenomena of sleep paralysis. Yeah, and it's a similar MO that we hear time and time again, don't we? This idea of something sitting on your chest, paralysing you, and then causing visions or hallucinations.
Yeah.
So that goes far back as 1400 BCE.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like the only difference is the antagonist, because...
The entity itself, what it looks like.
So the old hag is what we would probably refer to it today. Famous in that painting called The Nightmare, I think it is.
Yeah.
With that strange sort of goblin-like creature sitting on the chest. But the old hag sort of derives from there. And typically people report being able to hear heavy breathing and sometimes a foul smell from the breath of the creature.
All right, I haven't had a shower for a while. I'm sorry.
This time of year, I haven't had a shower since about 2024. But you had a sleep paralysis, and you had an entity in that.
I did, yeah. I had. I've talked about it before, but I'll do a brief summary. I was staying on a friend's couch, and then I heard this banging at his window, and I opened the curtains, and it was kind of a hooded monk type figure that I had, and seeing this face at the window just freaked me out, and I woke up, or I thought I'd woken up, realised I couldn't move, but then I looked in the corner of the room, and the entity was there, this kind of monk-like creature just looking at me, and then it leapt on my chest, and was stopping me breathing. Then it kind of disappeared, and I realised I was completely paralysed, and I started trying to wiggle my fingers or do some movement and managed to kick myself out of it. But at the time, I didn't even know what sleep paralysis was, so I didn't know what quite had happened to me. It really quite disturbed me for a few weeks afterwards. And then coincidentally, about a few months later, I saw a documentary on the science behind sleep paralysis and misfiring in the brain that happens just randomly, and how it all works. And I watched it and was like, oh my God, that's exactly what I had. So yeah, fascinating.
I mean, and I guess it would be. Were you terrified?
Oh, I was absolutely terrified. It really disturbed me for weeks afterwards because I knew it wasn't like a normal dream. Something else had gone on there, and it really freaked me out.
So you could see why people would attribute the some of the ideas from that to some kind of supernatural force.
Yeah, because literally I was awake.
Right, yeah.
Looking back on it, knowing how it works, I was awake, but my body was paralysed, and my subconscious brain was still in action, basically, still geared in. So, I was literally awake, unable to move, and hallucinating. And I know we've said it before, it's also been linked with some alien abduction stories as well, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, perhaps the most famous of the Dream Eaters, Ben, is the Japanese legend of the Baku.
The Baku?
Yes. Now, if you do a Google search on Dream Eaters, this is the one that's going to come up. This is the ultimate Dream Eater.
Delicious. So what do they look like then?
Well, I'm glad you asked that, Ben. In terms of appearance, they're made up of, an amalgam of various other earthbound creatures. They do vary, but the classic Baku has the classic one has the body of a bear, an elephant's trunk, tiger paws, an oxen tail,
and
a rhinoceros's ears and eyes.
Okay, why?
Well, it does seem like a random collection of parts, doesn't it? But the backstory is that the Baku was created by the spare pieces left over when the gods created all other animals.
What, they had like spare ears left over?
They had a box on the side. And they go, what are we going to do here? We got the body of a bear. We got an elephant's trunk. Oh, a couple of tiger paws. Oh, oxtail.
Right.
What do we do with these rhinos' ears and eyes? Put them all together. You got a Baku.
Right, okay. I mean, sure, why not? Mind you, the trunk, you would have thought that they would have made the right number of trunks for the right number of elephants.
Yeah, well, you know what it's like. Sometimes you have, I don't know if you've ever done like Lego, there's always a couple of bits left over, isn't it? You go, what am I supposed to do with that?
I know, but it's a specialist part, isn't it?
It is quite a specialist part, the trunk, yeah. Maybe bad planning. Maybe the original elephant was supposed to have 2 trunks and they forgot.
How good would that be, a two-trunk elephant?
Yeah.
A bi-trunk.
Yeah. Well,
Anyway, I feel like I'm deviating now.
You are deviating. Well, the Baku gets the name Dream Eater. It's quite simply because that's what it does.
And I presume it uses its trunk to like connect with your head or something.
Yeah, I guess so. If you summon it, it will devour nightmares, freeing you from the terror of your dreams.
Oh, that's nice.
It does sound good, doesn't it? But there is a catch.
Oh.
If the entity is not satisfied after consuming your nightmares, it will then devour your hopes and dreams.
Oh, for goodness sake.
So if it hasn't had a good feed on your nightmare, so you need to go to bed and have the worst nightmare possible, and then it will be satisfied. But if it's just, what do you mean? You're scared of a pencil falling off the table, it will then destroy your hopes and dreams.
That's not a... I don't think that's a fair trade.
It isn't risky, isn't it, as well, whether you call it or not? Now, according to M.R. Rees from ancientorigins.net, tales of the Baku devouring nightmares actually originated in Chinese folklore. Chinese mythology had a tradition of hybrid monsters created by the parts of several animals. So a similar story, bits left over from the gods. These quadripartite Mo of Chinese mythology was a fantastical monster made up of tiger paws, cow's tail, rhinoceros eyes, and an elephant's trunk. So this is, I guess, the roots of the Baku. Mm-hmm. The 9th century poet Bai Zhuja popularised the idea that drawing this hybrid beast could ward off sickness and evil. It was only later, between the 14th and 15th centuries, that the mythology began appearing in Japan during what is known as the Muromachi period. Here the stories altered the power of the mythological creature. While the Chinese Mo powers were used to repel evil, the Japanese Baku was embedded with the ability to fend off nightmares. Descriptions and beliefs in the Baku have changed throughout the years. In ancient Chinese legends, the Mo was an animal that was hunted for its pelt. Whomever killed a Mo would use the blanket made from the pelt as a talisman or an object with magical powers, and it would protect them from evil spirits. So you had to catch one of these Mo creatures, take the pelt, put it on, and you were protected from evil spirits. Now, the practice evolved over time, and soon the pelt was no longer necessary, but an image of the beast was thought to have the power to repel evil spirits. So I guess rather than trying to find one of these creatures, which is going to be tricky, get the pelt to protect yourself from evil, apparently just drawing one would do.
I mean, I can't imagine trying to explain to the missus why the kitchen is such a mess. What have you been doing? Well, I've been extracting the pelt off a Mo.
Yeah. And she goes, we could have just drawn one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I do. What do you mean that's what you do? I thought everybody did.
It wasn't until the Baku legend made its way to Japan that the beast was considered a dream eater with the power to consume and chase away nightmares. Over time, the custom of using amulets to stave off unwanted nightmares developed. These beliefs are continued to this day, and Japanese folklore claims that those suffering from bad dreams should call out to the Baku for help. By the turn of the 20th century, it was common for children in Japan to sleep with a Baku talisman by their beds. Children suffering from nightmares were told to wake up and repeat the following phrase 3 times. Baku-san, come eat my dreams. Baku-san, come eat my dreams. Baku-san, come eat my dreams. On speaking these words, the Baku was believed to enter the child's bedroom and devour the bad dream, allowing the child to go back to sleep peacefully. The Baku were also summoned for protection from bad dreams prior to falling asleep at night, and to this day it remains common for Japanese children to keep a Baku talisman at their bedside.
I love the idea that you have to do it 3 times. Like the Baku is waiting outside the bedroom door, and it's like once, twice, does it a 3rd time.
Oh, I'm coming. If he's doing it a 3rd time, I'm coming in.
Only twice. Right, I'm going.
Yep.
I'm going. Forget.
But,
So insulting.
But as I said, Ben, this myth also stressed the need for caution. Should a Baku remain hungry after consuming unwanted nightmares, it was believed that he would then continue to munch away, devouring a person's hopes and dreams as well. The effect would be that the person would end up living an empty and unfulfilled life.
Just drawing Bakus.
Yeah. It's risky, though. I mean, I get it if you're in the middle of a nightmare and you manage to summon one. But if you summon it before you go to sleep expecting to have a nightmare and then you don't have one, he's then going to devour your hopes and dreams.
You see, I think it's that danger of how bad is your nightmare. I don't tend to have like nightmares filled with like monsters or
me neither.
anything like that. I had what you would call possibly a nightmare last night. This is absolutely true, and I think it was because I fell asleep listening to the radio. There's a competition on on a British radio station where if you register and they call you, you win £500,000 instantly. But you have to say the phrase when you pick up the phone. And I dreamt that I had done that, and then my phone rang, and I couldn't remember what the phrase was. And I realised I hadn't won £500,000 because I couldn't work out what the phrase was. And I woke up, and you know that thing where you can't remember, you can't really work out whether it's real or not. And for about 3 seconds, I was like, I could have really done with £500,000. And I was like, oh, wait, no, it's all fine. I didn't. I don't feel like the backer would have been satiated with that dream.
No, that would have been a nightmare. This mythical beast may have originally been inspired by a real, now extinct animal. So rather than this concept of little bits put together, it might have been the ancestor of the Asian tapir.
Oh, that does make sense, yeah.
Yeah, in fact, more modern-day representations of the Baku do bear more of a resemblance to the tapir, such as the film Beautiful Dreamer, and in the Pokemon universe. There's a Baku in the Pokemon universe.
Ah, right, okay.
Looks a bit more like a tapir, which has got a kind of elephant's trunk thing going on and a kind of chunky body and weird-looking paws.
Am I right that that's an anteater?
I think it is an anteater.
Right, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Well, if you don't want to take the risk of summoning the Baku to eat your nightmares, because it is a risk, because, you know, if you get it wrong, he's going to devour your hopes and dreams as well. You could take a more practical approach of using a dream catcher.
Oh, yeah, we had to make those at school. Like, it's usually got feathers in, and you hang it in your window.
Yeah. And I'm going to tell you what the feathers are for, actually.
Oh.
Interestingly. In Native American tradition, dream catchers are very important, especially to the Ojibwa tribe. This is according to historian Jeff O'Connor. These elaborate artefacts have their origins in Ojibwa tradition. People claim that the Ashibik-Ashi, also known as Spider Woman, which I like, a spiritual guardian who cared for the land's inhabitants and children, that's what inspired the dreamcatcher. So this mythical entity. Dreamcatchers, as we know them now, originated from the magical webs that Ashibik-Ashi instructed mothers and grandmothers to weave as the Ojibwa nation spread across North America. So this Spider Woman creature showed them how to make these dream catchers. So you're getting the idea that part of it is like a spider's web, right?
Mm-hmm.
They were handcrafted from natural materials. Dream catchers hold significant symbolic meanings. The willow hoop symbolises the wheel of life, while the web traps negative dreams and allows positive ones to pass through. You can add sacred objects like beads or stones or feathers to enhance their significance. So feathers serve as gentle ladders for pleasant dreams to descend upon the sleeper.
Oh, that's quite poetic.
So the web catches the horrible dreams and the feathers allow the pleasant dreams to enter you.
Ah, okay. That makes sense.
Quite sweet, isn't it? They're not just a protection, they're also valuable cultural instruments that help pass on information and customs, represent the relationship between the material and spiritual world, and through their making strengthen communal ties. The Ojibwa tribe first used dream catchers, but they since spread to become more well-known emblems of Native American culture among many other tribes. They contribute to cultural preservation initiatives and offer forums for learning about Native American history and current affairs. Dream catcher making and the instructions not only contribute and preserve the Native American culture and handicraft, but also facilitate broader cross-cultural dialogue. They become very popular. There has been some controversy about it, though, among some Native American groups, kind of regarding it a bit as cultural appropriation.
Oh, yeah, okay, I can get that.
And you know, I think to many it's seen as a holy artifact. So, you know, I guess you making them in school would feel a bit trivialisation of
We
that.
made them in third year home economics sewing classes,
Yeah. But despite these arguments, the author says dream catchers continue to hold great significance for many Native American, representing their spiritual belief, cultural legacy, and the enduring relationship between dreams and everyday life. They're sacred objects with deep cultural and spiritual significance for a large number of people beyond their use as an ornamental piece. But I like the idea of how they actually work. That the round circle of it is almost like the world or the universe. The web is like, you know, that's for catching the bad dreams, and things like feathers are to help good dreams come in. It's really cute.
I challenge you to go to any sort of new age or spiritualist shop
Not fun one.
and not come out with a handful of dream catchers. Yeah. I went to a mediumship afternoon at our local hotel.
Right.
And in the middle of people selling wares, and there's crystals and all sorts, and there's about a bazillion dream catchers. And, you know, it's almost like you're looking around and you feel like you really ought to buy something because you've been at the stand too long.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've got a few that I've purchased out of the sheer embarrassment of standing in front of a stall too long.
That's just what they would have wanted.
Oh, yes.
Well, this idea of an entity that eats dreams does cross many cultures, but the weird thing for me, Ben, it's not really in European culture. We are focused mainly on supernatural beings that haunt you, attack you in your dreams, or are connected with sleep paralysis. So, I mean, there are different variations across Europe, such as the old hag, which we've talked about. But all their folklore roots in Europe come from the mare, an Anglo-Saxon or Norse term for a demon that sits on a sleeper's chest. So, yeah, Britain tends to have the old hag. In Germany, it's the Alp or the Trud.
The Trud.
The Trud. Now, this entity is pretty resourceful at getting to you while you sleep, generally travelling through keyholes indoors to infiltrate your dreams. In some tellings of the legend, the way to ward off the Alp is through some well-meaning hospitality. Apparently, Ben, if it comes to you, just invite it to have a coffee with you the next morning and it goes away.
Okay.
So, yeah, if the Alp, which is basically Germany's version of the old hag, is sitting on your chest going, can you come back tomorrow? I'll make you a coffee. It'll go, all right then. And then it'll go.
And then it just goes.
Yeah. Another way to stop an Alp includes blocking up your keyholes. That makes sense, right? Can't get in. This is a bit weird. Placing your shoes with the toes facing the door. Don't know why.
Is that because it thinks you're leaving or something?
I don't know. This is a good one. Getting into your bed backwards. That works, apparently.
How do you get into it forwards or backwards? Because
Well, I guess as you approach, don't walk forward to your bed, then turn around and get in.
you reverse.
You reverse, yeah.
Okay, I could do
love
that.
that idea of you doing that with one of those beep, beep, beep noises going. There is another way, but it's a little bit convoluted and a little bit gross as well, and could be dangerous in some ways. Said Ben that a person suffering from nightmares should urinate into a clean new bottle, hang the bottle in the sun for 3 days, carry it without saying a word to a running stream, and then throw it over one's head into the stream.
Carry it without saying a word.
You would do, though, wouldn't you, if you're carrying a big bottle of urine?
and then you throw it into the stream
over your head.
over your head.
Yeah, that could go horribly wrong, couldn't it?
I don't think that's a great idea. That sounds more like how to wee at a rock concert.
Yeah, yeah.
But
I've been to a few heavy metal gigs when people have been trying that out.
so let me get this straight. I could either put some shoes pointing to the door,
Yeah.
or I could pee in a bottle, leave it for 3 days, then carry it to a stream, completely silent, and throw it over my head.
Yeah.
I'll do the shoes.
You choose. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now, there are some weird and slightly disturbing tales of encounters with Alps.
I like disturbing tales.
Yeah, these have been compiled by folklore expert D.L. Ashleyman. They're a bit of a similar vein, these ones. You'll get the idea of them. So the first involved a cabinet maker in Böhl. Now, he slept in a bed in his workshop. Several nights in a row, something laid itself onto his chest and pressed against him until he could hardly breathe. After talking the matter over with a friend, the next night he lay awake in bed. At the stroke of 12, a cat slipped through a hole. The cabinet maker quickly stopped up the hole, caught the cat, this is a bit gross, nailed down one of its paws, and then he went back to sleep.
Okay.
The next morning, he found a beautiful naked woman in the cat's place. One of her hands was nailed down. This pleased him so much, he married her. This is how the story goes. This is not me. One day, after she had borne him 3 children, she was with him in his workshop when he said to her, "Look, that is where you came in." And he opened the hole that had been stopped up until now.
And she ran out, didn't she?
She turned into a cat, ran out through the opening, and she was never seen again. I can't blame her, really. He doesn't really sound like a keeper, does he?
No, not really. Not after nailing her hand to the floor.
Yeah.
And besides, every day for dinner it was milk.
Yeah. Well, the next one, story of an Alp, comes from Denmark. They're called Mara there. There was a man who was ridden by a Mara every night. One morning, he drilled a hole through the door, plugged shut all the cracks, and made a stick that fitted exactly into the hole of the door.
Hang on, when you say ridden, do you mean...
On his chest.
Oh, right, not like a succubus would.
No.
No, I see, okay.
Yeah. He knew the Maras could get in through even a very small hole, but not out again if all the openings were plugged shut. Then he said to the boy, although there wasn't a boy in this story, so I don't know, that when he heard him moan... Oh, so, okay, I got it. So he's in his bedroom, right? He's blocked up everything apart from the hole that he's made, hoping that the thing's going to come through there. He's got a boy or someone in there with him to keep an eye out in case one of these things comes through to wake him up, right? So... He says,
it's dodgy from the outset.
Yeah, really, it gets
Why
worse.
have you got a boy in your bedroom?
Yeah, it gets worse.
He's looking out for the dream thing?
Yeah, it gets worse.
Okay.
So he says to the boy that when he heard him moan, he should put the stick in the hole because he wanted to capture her, the Mara.
Sure, okay.
In the morning, so they did all this. Guess what was there?
A beautiful naked woman.
There was a naked woman with a tuft of wool on her back in the room.
A tuft of wool?
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
I don't know. However, the man did not know that if you catch a Mara, you can't get rid of her. So he had to marry her. That's the end of the story.
You had to marry her?
Yeah, that's the end.
Okay. I would love to know how that conversation went.
Yeah.
First of all, hello.
Yeah.
Don't mind the boy. He was here to capture you. And she's like, oh, no, that's fine. Hello. Could you shave my back?
Yeah. Well, looking at this research, there are hundreds of stories that are very similar to this across Europe, but they're all pretty similar.
Now, I can't help thinking, so they all resolve in a naked woman being in your bedroom?
Yeah. That you marry, sometimes you have kids with, and then they escape, it seems to be. So, yeah, they enter the bedroom, the man traps them in there, and for some reason goes back to sleep.
Goes back to sleep, yeah, as you would.
Wouldn't you, yeah. When he wakes up the next day, beautiful naked woman, marries, sometimes has kids.
Sometimes has kids.
One day later says, you do know I captured in you here through this hole, pulls out whatever was blocking the hole, and the entity goes.
Imagine the dinner party. How did you two meet? Well,
exactly.
funny story. I also think that this is a great excuse if you've been caught having an extramarital affair.
Yeah.
What's she doing in the bedroom? Oh, you will never believe this.
Yeah. She's an old hag.
Yeah. Okay, that sounds...
Well, in reading those tales, Ben, I've got a little more empathy for the Alp or the old hag. I don't know about you. It's like they've been treated very badly, especially across, mainland Europe.
But what was she there for in the first place? To eat his dreams?
I guess so, yeah. I don't know.
It doesn't all add up, does it?
Really doesn't add up.
And I like the idea, like, how holy are these bedrooms? What are they made of that you could
I know.
open a hole with a
Why
stick?
did the other one have the boy in there with him? I don't know. They're all a bit disturbing, though, aren't they?
Yeah, but it's this... so there's an element of transmogrification in there as well, but like a cat or whatever. But so you alluded to it earlier. You've actually said it, that sleep paralysis has been used as an explainer for the alien abduction phenomena.
Yeah.
And I personally don't believe that. But there are a few little things in those particular tales. So that idea of being taken aboard a spacecraft, having your clothes taken off you, being made to have sex with another entity, there's kind of some similarities there.
Yeah. Well, I think the other thing that struck me on this as well, which we may talk about in a minute, but because I'd always thought everybody sees the same thing, but actually researching it culturally, people see different things. European culture is more an old hag or something like that. Going back, this kind of elephant creature with the body of a bear. They are different creatures. What happens is the same, which sounds very sleep paralysis, but different appearances in different cultures, which I thought was fascinating.
Yeah. So your brain has to be conditioned to have a particular thing. It's interesting you saw a monk.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that's a very particularly popular
it wasn't
entity to turn up. No. Yeah.
Well, I went in search of an academic paper on the subject of dream eaters, and weirdly I found one. It's written by Patrick McNamara and Kelly Berkeley from the Department of Neurology at Boston University of Medicine. Now, in terms of an academic paper, Ben, its title is pretty straight to the point. Dreams as a source of supernatural agent concepts.
Oh.
Nice.
Oh, that's...
Right? There's not even a subtitle to it.
It sounded like it was written for us.
Yeah. They say, in many traditional societies, dreams were considered direct experiential evidence of the spirit realm. Many peoples interpret their dreams as cases where the dreamer's soul wanders outside the body and communes with the gods and spirits beings of the spirit world. Reports that the South American Jivaro consider dreams to be populated by spirit beings who often are or become the focus of their sacred rituals and stories. The Zuni and the Quiché Maya traditions see dreams as direct communications from sacred ancestors. So this is another theme that's quite popular, isn't it? It's ancestors getting in contact with you. The Tikopaya of Polynesia see many dreams as direct communication of spirits, so spirits communicating with the dreamers. The characters populating these dreams can be described in the language of the cognitive science of the religion or supernatural agents, non-human entities with autonomous powers and intentions. So often their bodies may not be clearly seen, but they do have minds, and they frequently have unusual powers far beyond the capabilities of ordinary agents. They can fly, some can time travel, some can mind read. Ben, the authors of this paper, they kind of lay out their stall. They say, despite the abundance of evidence linking people's belief in supernatural agents with dream experience, few efforts have been made to explain the brain-mind processes connected with dream cognition and religious cognition. So I think religious is being used in a kind of spiritual and religious here, so it's a wide. So in the paper, they put forward the hypothesis that supernatural agent cognition are significantly influenced by nightly dream patterns. So they're saying almost that dreams are the reason we have supernatural, religious, and other belief systems.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. So the cause and effect has been reversed then.
Yeah, in their view. So they begin with an overview of rapid eye movement and non-rapid eye movement, so REM and NREM, sleep states. When they review historical and cross-cultural evidence linking dream cognition to supernatural agent cognition, so this is knowledge of supernatural, we conclude with a presentation of theory of to how dream cognition generates supernatural agent cognition. I think what they're basically saying, Ben, that they are going to put forward a scientific theory as to why multiple cultures are obsessed with or believe in the kind of dream-eating entities that we've talked about today.
Right. And it's because of the imagery that appears in your own mind when you're asleep. So the interesting thing about that, though, is where does that come from? Is there like an archetype that is built into our systems? Yeah,
that's a really interesting point. I mean, they're saying... I waded through the science to simplify it. Here's what I made of it. So I always caveat this of going, this was my interpretation of it. I don't, you know what those academics' papers are like. I got lost at paces. So they focused on the 4 main sleep stages. So stage 1, 2, and 3 are known as NREM. So that's no REM sleep. It's deeper sleep, more regenerative. I guess it's the good stuff, Ben. Stage 4 is REM sleep, so you've got lots of brain activity, vivid dreams, heavy breathing. We all cycle through NREM and then REM sleep. We do this about 4 to 6 times a night, which is just, you think about it. Now, I always thought we only dream in REM sleep, but apparently we also dream in the NREM stages as well.
Oh, really? I thought the same.
Yeah, but the dreams are different from REM dreams. Dreams in NREM tend to be more thought-like, less bizarre and less emotional than stage 4 REM dreams. So more practical, basically. According to early anthropologists, it seems probable that humans first entertained the idea of a spirit realm because they directly experienced such a realm in their dreams. Researchers working in many different parts of the world have found that people in traditional societies treat dreams as the source of their religious ideas, including the concepts of their gods and other supernatural beings. Dreams are considered proof of the gods and a spirit realm, since dreams were involuntary and emotionally vivid experiences that involved the dreamer's soul encountering other beings, including long-deceased relatives.
Okay, that's interesting as well, because... I was going to say, because I don't really dream about monsters, but I do dream about people who aren't around anymore.
Yeah, me too.
I dream about my grandparents. I dream about dead pets, but I don't. They're not very message heavy. They just they're times. I sort of go back in time and I'm going to get an ice cream with my gran or something.
Yeah.
There's no like, oh, she's dead or anything. It's just like, oh, I had a dream about getting an ice cream with my gran. There's nothing mystical about it.
Yeah, I know those kind of dreams. I mean, I haven't got an ice cream with your gran, but I know what you mean. That would be weird. This goes back a long way, Ben. As far back as Neanderthals. The first clear signs of the emergence of supernatural entities occurs in the hundreds of cave art sites that have been dated to the Upper Paleolithic era. In the Shavat cave that dates to some 28,000 years ago, there are many images of human-animal hybrids that are likely depictions of supernatural entities. The Tassil rock art of the Sahara depicts supernatural beings that date to a time, the Neolithic and perhaps earlier, when the Sahara still contained grassland where flocks of animals could be hunted. The rock art of the San of South America depicts larger-than-life hunters garbed in animal masks and skins. The rock art of native tribes in Australia that dates back many thousand years also depicts similar entities.
I mean, that is what we are interpreting them as.
Yes, that's true.
Again, if it was ancient aliens, they would probably be
Aliens.
Yeah, exactly.
This connection between dream state and religious and supernatural belief has been with us ever since. All the world's religious traditions have pointed to dreams as spiritual events and communication with the spirit world. The author then goes on to explore a popular theory among some scientists who study dreams, that dreams very likely play a role in episodic prospection or episodic future thought, such as planning, developing goals, generation of desires, mental simulations of possible worlds, imagination of future scenarios, and daydreaming about possibilities. For example, in dreams, the dreamer is virtually always desiring, planning, imagining, plotting, striving, simulating possible worlds, and in general aiming at some future outcome. Dreams are goals-driven, and that is why they are sometimes spoken as a narrative, story, or episodic. Again, Ben, I'm going to oversimplify and interpret where the paper goes with this, but they seem to raise the question that if dreams are about goal setting or your subconscious working out stuff, the inclusion of supernatural entities or gods seems doesn't really fit that, right?
No.
Now, the reason for inclusion of these supernatural themes could be down to the nature of REM sleep. So if you remember the two, let's call them genres, REM and NREM, in NREM dreams, that process tends to be the less emotional, more practical, more rooted in your working reality, right? So that's your goal setting, working stuff out, processing the day type stuff. With REM dreams, it's like you take the creative shackles off, basically. In REM sleep, the brain shows high activity in emotion-related areas, but less activity in the frontal areas that helps with self-control and reality monitoring. The combination may make dream experiences feel real and agents feel powerful. So this is like the supernatural may come in at this point. Given, at least on many occasions, our dreams, surreal as they might be, follow some sort of narrative or storytelling structure, you can understand, given our historical lack of knowledge about sleep and dream states, that this became interpreted as a supernatural or religious message or experience. And I guess that could make sense of how do you interpret what I went through with sleep paralysis. I couldn't interpret it at the time until I found something that seemed like a more logical explanation of it. I could have, I thought, I went through my mind, was that something paranormal? Was that, am I going mad? What's going on?
Yeah. I'm still... The thing that still doesn't make sense to me is the... I guess the fact that a number of people do see the same entity, and they're like the chicken and the egg.
Yeah.
Like I can sort of see like where the old hag might come from, because that's the sort of stories we've been told.
Yeah.
But it feels like, so what I'm thinking about is, we spoke about what people see in DMT realms, and there's the famous work that I picked up on. I can't remember the name of the author now, but talking about the machine elves that are seen in that dimension when people take that particular drug.
Yeah.
And it feels like those entities know that you are there and you are able to converse with them, and they appear to have their own opinions. And that is something which does happen in a dream state, but not always with the same entities. Or if it is always with the same entities, does that suggest that there is a spirit realm that you are interacting with, and there is a thin veil, and those things aren't just a figment of our imagination?
Well, I guess the real test of that would be if people with very, very diverse cultural backgrounds see the same thing.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I think this is where I'm coming with this. I think there's something interesting about how we might subconsciously interpret the physical things that are happening to our bodies when we sleep. Especially when it comes to these cultural examples of what seems like sleep paralysis. The creatures or entities are different across cultures. For us, it's a witch-like hag, could be the Hat Man, or a spiritual animal so other ones have got these spirit animals made up of different types of animals. Though the entities are different, what's happening seems to be the same. Paralysed with fear, sitting on your chest, restricted breathing. Those themes are ubiquitous, right? It's just the entities that are changing depending on the cultural background. And it makes sense. Sleep paralysis, you are paralysed with fear. Your heart rate is pumping and breathing exaggerated. And your subconscious is hallucinating. It's going to make up something sitting on your chest, isn't it? It's just a case of what? And the entity changes, but the physical process is the same, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So, let's just go back to the paper quickly. The author's conclusion: there can be little doubt that dream experiences have been thoroughly intertwined with religious beliefs and practices and the experience of people all over the world throughout history. Although dreams are difficult to study scientifically, the sheer fact of their psychological and cultural ubiquity makes them an important topic for brain-mind research as well as scientific theory of religion. We have argued that new evidence in the cognitive science of religion, particularly regarding supernatural agents and the cognitive foundation of agency, can illuminate some of the neurological processes at work in dreaming that naturally lend themselves to attribution of special powers to special characters or beings in dreams and therefore to religious meaning and purpose. So again, that's a long-winded way of saying, when you're in that, you've got this practical element to dreams, but when you're in that REM state, you are going to create more fantastical, maybe even supernatural or religious beings. And culturally, we have intertwined them with some kind of folklore or mythology. But I guess they're arguing it comes from dreams.
Yeah. So we're sort of creating our own superheroes in our head.
Yeah.
One of the things that I find peculiar about dreams is, like, obviously there's loads of stuff we don't understand, but it's the time span. So, for example, you have a dream about a gunshot, and that gunshot happens in real life because someone slams a door in your house.
Yeah.
But in your dream, you've already got the setup to that gunshot. So you can have a whole narrative where there's someone, and maybe you're being chased by someone, or you're holding a gun and you're running around. There's lots of action before the gun goes off. But in your sleep, how did you know when the door was going to slam? Because it's at that moment that in your dream, that noise, you're experiencing it as the gunshot. And that has occurred to me lots of different times, not just with doors slamming, but with unpredictable events that I couldn't know in my dreams, in my dream state. Like another one, because the dog sleeps on the end of my bed, and in my dream I've had a scenario where there's been something that's nefarious going on, and in my dream I knew the dog was going to see it and bark, and then I get woken up by the dog barking. So my brain must have developed an entire narrative almost instantly to make sense of that noise. That, for me, is very peculiar.
Well, I mean, in conclusion, I guess there's different ways of looking at it. I mean, part of me, while I was researching this, I started to believe that, these supernatural entities, especially when it connected to sleep paralysis, I started thinking they don't exist. Their existence is a natural process of dreams influenced by physical and cultural factors. But I wonder mainly, is it the incredible creative power of the human brain? I guess in the more tinfoil hat approach is, well, I guess the believer thing is that these supernatural entities exist and are visiting us in our dreams. Or the other way you could look at it. So the other theory I thought about, which is a bit more tinfoil hat, I thought, well, are we able in our dream state to tap into an alternate reality or a parallel dimension that really exists? Or are we, if we go even further, tapping into unseen code in our simulation that we don't normally spot?
That was the other thing that was occurring to me, was simulation code. And we've spoken about those guys who are doing the research into whether what they're doing is using they're taking DMT and then looking into the reflection of a laser beam, and they say that they can see code.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
In there, and they also say that they can see entities in there as well.
Yeah.
And what they are experimenting with is something that you have kind of said there. Is that an experience that everybody has, and are you able to have it without DMT?
Right.
And that would probably be a game changer in understanding whether we are peering into a realm or not. And I guess that's the question that we've always been asking ourselves is, are we peering into another realm?
Yeah.
And the difference between us and our ancestors is we are very materialistic and we say, no, it's all happening in our heads. And our ancestors looked at it the other way around and said, no, we are being visited, or we are able to experience this other spiritual realm.
Yeah.
And that's as real as ours.
Because you can also carry that through that, heaven or reincarnation. It's just level up.
Of course.
And maybe in dreams we're tapping into some of that code and we can see a bit of that. Or near-death experience is the same.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Do you have recurring dreams yourself?
No, I don't think I do. I did when I was younger, I think. I had some kind of weird demonic loss of limb dream that I used to have repeatedly. But no, not really. No.
I have one which I always get when I've stopped work for a bit when I'm on holiday. I always get one, and it always exists in the same time frame. It's about some work experience I did in like 1991. And it was a very good experience. There's no reason why it should stand out amongst the rest of my life. But every time I have that dream, I know what year it is now, and I know that was back in 1991. But I'm able to time travel. And last time I had it, which was about a week ago, I'm able to walk around the road and look at all the cars that were around on the road, and then come back and go, God, I wish I should have just bought one because it would have been, worth so much now. And it's so weird that one dream has happened to me about 50 times. That I would like to be able to understand how that happens.
Yeah, or if you go from more logical bit, what is it trying to tell you? What can you learn from it, Ben?
Well, I don't know. I don't know what it means. Does it mean a changing career? I don't know. It's just so weird that 2 weeks of work experience has had this impact on my dreams for
you spent
30
more
years.
time dreaming about it than you were actually there.
That's true. That's absolutely true.
Well, I do have that recurring dream of the cat coming in through the keyhole and me nearly gets poured down, and then it wakes up and it's...
And then you got a lovely woman. Yeah.
That's a recurring dream.
That's the weirdest. So many of these things end up with a not safe for work scenario. So many of these paranormal things we've been talking about.
Yeah, there's always a sexual element. Well, for everyone listening, don't have nightmares, but if you do, make sure they're powerful ones, or the dream eater won't be satisfied, and that won't end well for you.
It won't. Well, next week I am going to be doing something. As long as I can make it work out, I'm halfway through the research. I'm going to be doing something about. It's got aliens, it's got ghosts, and it's got dogs in it.
Oh, hit the bingo. Oh, wrong one.
Oh, no.
Bingo.
There we go.
Well, look, if you want more of us, come and join us at patreon.com/TQM pod. You get our main episode roughly a week early. You get Ben and Peter's exclusive episode, the Extra Scoop. Access to the Discord server. We have lots of a good community chat we're posting on there, and we're going to plan in the new year to do a few Zoom catch-ups as well. So consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TQM pod. Help support the show, and cool. Yeah, jump on that Discord and say hello to our mod, Steph, who is there pretty much 24 hours a day. Yeah. Don't know how she does it, but hope your new year kicks off in the right way, and your first week at work, if you are going back to work, is good. Yep. Take us with you, and we'll see you next week. Cheers.
Are you the quantum mechanics?